Hey friends, George Sorter here, Fahrenheit Mechanical Systems, heating, cooling, gas leak repair, and now automatic garage door maintenance and repairs. That's absolutely correct. Hey folks, let me talk to you about a little bit about customer loyalty. Now, I've been doing this stuff 30 years, and I've got customers that's been with me 25 years. And man, it's awesome to have a customer for that many years. But let me talk to you about customer loyalty, like I said. So, I'm going to go ahead and give you an example, tell you a little story, give you an example so you can understand what I'm getting at. There is a lady that lives up the street from my office named Betty Smith. Let's just call her Betty. Now, I don't know if there's a Betty Smith up the road from my office or not. I'm just giving you an example. Okay? Certain situations that have happened to me over the years, and I give you an idea, an analogy, so to speak. That's a really hard word for me to say. Okay, so anyways, Betty Smith lives up the road. I've been doing air conditioning work for Betty Smith for 15 years. Betty has moved in 2 or 3 different houses during that 15 years. She has got a good job. She makes great money. Betty and I have bonded. Betty's husband passed away a few years ago, Tom, because Tom went over to Farmer Brown's to get some tomatoes, and Farmer Brown wasn't home. So Tom's like, well, I'll just go out there and get me some tomatoes, and I'll just pay him later. Well, as he went out there, he was picking a few tomatoes. He was eating them. Farmer Brown grows the best tomatoes you could have. I mean, anybody around buys their tomatoes from Farmer Brown and their other produce. Big shout out to our farmers, by the way. Without our farmers, we would starve. I'm telling you. So Farmer Brown has the best tomatoes around. So Tom goes by there, gets him some tomatoes. He's eating them. Boom! Rattlesnake gets him, bites him on the leg. Because he's so far out in the country and he don't have his phone with him, he couldn't call for help. He was by himself. Killed him. Sad story, but anyways, that's what's happened. You don't take other people's stuff without asking or paying first. Even though Farmer Brown wouldn't have minded, that's how he makes his living. He grows and sells vegetables. And so, boom! Sorry, Tom. Bad thing. So anyways, Betty moves on. She gets a good job. She's making good money. She moves in a few different houses. And so Tom and I were good friends, and I've been doing work for them for years. So Betty had a hard time getting over, the accident, what happened and all that. So I don't hear from Betty for a couple years. She moves in this newer house, not a brand new house, but a newer house. And so I don't hear from her for a while. And I'm like, okay, well, she's dealing with the loss of Tom and all that. So Betty calls me one day. She says, George, she's like, my AC's not working in my new house I moved into a while back. Could you come over here and look at it? So I go over there. I look at it. Compressor's bad. The unit is 6 years old. The compressor is bad. The compressor might be under warranty is what I'm thinking. If her unit was registered when it was installed, I've never worked on this unit, so I don't know the history of it because she just moved in a while back. So I called the manufacturer, find out if it's under warranty. It's not under warranty. When the people that put the unit in installed it, they did not register it. They didn't tell the homeowner at the time to register it. The unit did not get registered, so therefore it defaults back to a 5-year parts and labor warranty on the unit. Okay, so I tell Betty, I said, I'm sorry. I said, you know, if it was registered when the unit was put in, it'd be under warranty. It was not registered, so it's not under warranty. So she's like, well, George, give me a price on replacing the compressor. Let's just get a new compressor. And I've got to have AC. I've got a couple smaller children. I've got to have AC. It's middle of summer. I'm like, yes, ma'am. So as I'm looking at the unit, I look at the compressor contactor. I'm thinking, okay, compressor contactor needs to be replaced. Anytime I change a compressor or one of my guys changes a compressor that's bad, there's a certain process we go through. So I'm going to change. I tell Betty, I'm out here. She's out here. Excuse me. She's out here in the yard with me at the unit. And I tell Betty, I said, look, I said, if I change this compressor, I'm changing the capacitor. I'm changing the plug that goes to the compressor. I'm changing the liquid line dryer. I'm changing the Freon. And any component that makes that compressor work or aids in helping it work, I'm changing it, because I'm going to warranty this compressor for at least 1 year. Some are 1 year, some are 3, and some are 5 at Fahrenheit, depending on the compressor. Some compressor brands you don't want to warranty too long because of their history. So anyways, Betty's like, okay. So I tell Betty, I said, look, you're looking at $1,200 for me to change the compressor and all the components that help make it run, new Freon, and all that. So she's like, okay, well, let me get back with you. I'll call you this evening. I said, okay. So $1,200. And that's a really good price to do all of the things that I'm going to do. So anyways, that's a good price. So, and I had no worries because Betty's been, like I said, Betty and Tom been my friends for years. You know, I've never had to worry about whether or not I had to be concerned about their loyalty to me. So a couple weeks goes by and I didn't hear from Betty, and she never did approve the job, and I didn't want to do anything without getting her approval. So I'm sitting at the house one evening, and I'm like, I haven't heard from Betty, because when I go home, I start thinking about all this stuff. So I give her a call, and I said, Betty, everything okay? I hadn't heard from you. I know your house has got to be hot. She's like, oh, well, George, she's like, after you came over and gave me a price of $1,200, I thought I would call Bubba down the street. Now, you remember, Bubba is neighbors with Farmer Brown. So, Farmer Brown grows the best tomatoes and the best vegetables anybody in the area grows. But Farmer Brown gets upset with Bubba because Bubba comes over there and eats his daggum tomatoes all the time. Now, see, Farmer Brown's got a little picnic area out there behind his house, and he intentionally grew tomato plants all around that area so people can sit out there and eat tomatoes when they want to and not interrupt his crops. That was smart. So anyways, he gets frustrated with Bubba because Bubba comes over there and eats all of his daggum tomatoes. Well, it's not for one person to come over there and eat them all. See, so anyways, what I didn't tell you is Bubba recently sold his company. You know, Bubba's Heating and Air that we've been talking about. Bubba sold his company to Thrifty Penny up the road, because Thrifty Penny has been sitting around and seeing all of Bubba's referrals and attaboys on Facebook and all that. So Thrifty Penny's like, that Bubba, I've got to have me a technician like Bubba because he gets in, he gets out, and he's fast. She's like, I know I could make some money if I hire Bubba. So what they did is they worked out a deal where they would merge companies. Okay, so Thrifty Penny really liked the idea of having Bubba on her team. Bubba was the best technician around in her opinion. Okay, so anyways, Bubba comes out there, looks at Betty's compressor, says, yep, I can replace the compressor for you, Betty. It's going to be $1,000. So she's like, huh, let me think about that. I'll call you tonight, Bubba. So she gets thinking about it. She's like, huh, well, Bubba is $200 cheaper than George with Fahrenheit. And she's like, I think George might be trying to take advantage of me. I mean, it's $200. Of course, I've got a good job and I have a good income, but I'm alone now and I got to save my money. I've got to prepare for retirement. So anyways, she calls Bubba back that night, says, Bubba, go ahead and get the compressor tomorrow and put it in. So anyways, that's what happened. That's why I hadn't heard from Betty in a couple weeks, because she went with Bubba. So Bubba goes out there, puts compressor in. He did not change the compressor contactor. He did not change the capacitor. He did not put new Freon in it. He did not replace the liquid line dryer. So he did not pull a good vacuum on the system. He did not put acid away in the system. Anytime Fahrenheit changes a compressor, we put a little acid away in it, especially if it's a system we've never worked on before, because we don't know the history. So definitely, if we don't know the history, we put acid away in it. So there's your extra $200 right there. I'm going to guarantee that compressor for a minimum of 1 year. You know what? In order to do that, I've got to cover my butt and do it by the book, do the repair by the book. I've got to. So this was towards the end of summer. It was cooling off. And Betty's compressor goes out back in the following spring. Betty calls up me and says, George, my AC's not working. Can you come over here and look at it? I said, sure. So I go over there and look at it. That new compressor was bad. I said, Betty, you need to call Bubba because Bubba put it in. She calls Bubba and Bubba's like, well, yes, ma'am, I did put the compressor in, but we only give a 60-day warranty on compressors. 60-day warranty. And right after he put it in, the weather cooled off. She didn't need it much. Didn't use it much, so there's no telling when the compressor actually died, but probably within the 60 days. But because it was over 60 days, because we went through winter, Bubba and Thrifty Penny would not warranty the compressor. Okay, so I've been doing their work for 15 years. I've never had a problem with them. I've always stood behind my work with Tom and Betty. So they've never had a problem with anything I've done. I've always done a great job for them. I was always there every time they needed me for 15 years. But because I was $200 higher, and Betty wanted to cut cost a little bit, I lost the job. They went cheap. And now they're in the same situation. Less than a year later, the compressor's not under warranty. Folks, this is reality. This is reality. What you don't realize is you're trying to save a few bucks, but it comes around and bites you right in the tail a few months down the road. It's not worth it. If Bubba had changed all of the components that we did, the compressor would not have failed, most likely. I've put hundreds, if not thousands, of compressors in, and I've learned over the years, do it right and stand behind your work. That's the difference when you call quality or you call Bubba. So anyways, Thrifty Penny and Bubba would not warranty the compressor. So Betty ended up paying them to replace the compressor because I was going to charge her like I did originally. You know, $1,200. But now I knew it was going to take me a little bit longer because I had to clean up Bubba's imperfection, so to speak. Yeah. So this happens a lot in the heating and air business. If you like your air conditioning guy or company and he treats you right and has got a history of being there every time you need them, why would $200 make a difference on losing that friendship? Or I'm not saying you would lose the friendship because you wouldn't with me, but putting a damper on that friendship. It's not worth it. So I told Betty, I said, look, Betty, I said, why didn't you call me and tell me you called Bubba out here to look at it? And Bubba said he was $200 cheaper. I said, I would have went back over all of my prices. I would have tried to shave off a little labor, or I would have done something to try to get you down to Bubba's price match. Well, Betty said she said, George, isn't that kind of unethical? I'm one of the most ethical people in the heating and air industry. I guarantee you that. These huge retailers price shop, price match against each other all the time. You can go to Lowe's and say, yeah, I really want this product, but Home Depot's got it $20 cheaper. Lowe's, a lot of times, is going to say, we'll take $20 off. You can't tell me you've never done that. And that's not unethical? Well, if you're talking about ethics, I guess it is. If you want to get down to the nitty gritty, look, if you have a company that you've used or a person and you've used them for years, sometimes they might be a little bit higher on something because they're going to be more thorough with the repairs. So don't sit here and take a chance of losing your reputation, your friendship with them over a couple $100. It's BS. It is BS. And don't you know that guy that's giving you great prices and took care of you all these years, don't you know that at some point he's got to make a little money? He's got a business to run. He's got insurance, licensing fees. He's got kids at home. He's got truck repairs. He's got fuel for the trucks. I mean, that's the problem, is people do not sit down and take into consideration all that your air conditioning man does for you. Now, if you're not happy with your air conditioning man, you call him, he's there 2 or 3 days later, you don't trust him, something ain't right, get rid of him and call Fahrenheit, because I promise you, you will have a great experience with Fahrenheit. I guarantee it. So, with all that said, you kind of see the difference where an extra $200 might play in the part of repairs. And I'm not saying it's going to be a $200 difference. It could be a $500 difference. It could be a $100 difference. But from my experiences, a customer like I said, I've got customers I've had for years and years and years, and they wouldn't ever think of calling another company. But there are some of you out there, over a couple $100, you're willing to call Bubba. And that is not right. So anyways, think about it. So, as I'm sitting around in my office or at home, I like to scroll through Facebook. I learn a lot through Facebook. I meet a lot of people through Facebook, and I get business off Facebook. So I'll be sitting here scrolling, and I'll see somebody on Facebook. They'll say, does anybody recommend a heating air conditioning company? And I'm looking and I'm like, I've been friends with you for 4 years. And yeah, it usually happens to be a female, and she usually happens to be attractive. And I'm like, she don't even know I exist. I'm like, hey, over here. So I throw my name out there. I put Fahrenheit Mechanical Systems, and nothing. I'm like, we've been friends for 4 years. You don't even know I exist? I'm not making a big enough impression. I'm not loud enough. All these thoughts go through my head. Why does she not even give me a chance to come out and give a quote or a diagnostic or whatever? And it's not necessarily because it's female and she's purty, but that does help because I don't have a problem being around purty people. You know what I'm saying? I kind of blend right in with purty people. What? Oh, you don't think so? Thought we were friends. Okay, look, we'll get into that later. So anyways, in my mind, I'm sitting here. Why does she not know I exist? I'm like, hey, it's me. It's the fat guy with the big nose and the green headband. Hey, I'm over here. And nothing. So, it's crazy. Let me tell you something. I take my job a little personal sometimes. I want to be your air conditioning guy. So, anyways, I'm thinking, how can I get her attention? Because everybody should know me. Hell, I'm on Facebook all the time. It's not like I'm easy to not notice. I mean, like I stand out like a sore thumb. Hello. So anyways, I'm like, okay. She wants a masculine air conditioning guy. Okay, I got it. Man, I catch on pretty quick. So I rip my shirt off and I'm sticking my gut out and I'm posing and I take this selfie. And I'm like, she'll notice me now. Little sexy masculinity ain't gonna hurt nothing. So I send her a private message and I say, with the picture, and I say, hey, baby. Nothing. I still don't get a call or a response. Well, a few days later, I realized that was her husband on her Facebook looking for an air conditioning guy. And he's 350 pounds and bodybuilder type. He's got arms as big as my waist. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, that I did not get called out there. I could have been killed. So anyways, there's a reason why sometimes the Lord don't let us get particular jobs. I've been there a few times. Not with purty girls, or purty women, I should say. But because sometimes the Lord says, you don't need that job. That job's going to be a bigger disaster than you can ever imagine. And then I've talked to the guys that actually got the job later on, and I'm like, thank God I didn't get it. Anyways, friends, I love you guys. Thanks for having fun with me. With all that's going on in the world, all the COVID stuff and all the, all the political stuff. I've got to burn a little steam off and have some fun. And my videos are the best way for me to do it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being my friend. And you know I got your back when it comes to heating and air, gas leaks, and garage door repairs. Love you folks. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.